The greatest salesperson of all time has done it again. How I know? Because he's closed everybody. You know, sales is one thing that I'm good at. And from one salesperson to the next, I kind of understand what Jerry's done, what Jerry's doing, and what he's selling. He's now convinced half of Cowboy Nation that Schottenheimer is the next best thing. Now that is to be determined. Now, and I get it. I mean, I understand what he's trying to come across with the media. I mean, because being in sales, you have to own what you're selling. You have to own it. You have to have heartfelt, convincing statements to get people to trust you. You do. You have to be able to look somebody in the eye. You have to be able to overcome objections. And that's what the Joneses have done. The Joneses have done. But I don't know if I'm falling for it, Jerry. I really don't think so. Let's look at what Shotty has done. He was with the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Jets. He is all about trying to marry the run game with the passing game. Okay? He is. But with those teams, he was in the bottom half of the league in scoring. Do you understand what I'm saying, Cowboy Nation? Oh, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Please. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. I really appreciate it. But I think Jerry passed up on opportunities. I think Jerry could have brought in a guy that could have changed the culture. Now, listening to Brian's press conference, that's what he preached. Trying to change and wanting to change the culture. Now, you got to understand with Brian, he did work up under Mike McCarthy. Okay? He was there for what? 3 to 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. So think about this, Cowboy Nation. You want to be able to change the culture, right? You was there with Mike McCarthy. So now you're going to come in and be disciplined, more disciplined. You're going to make sure that these players are in meetings on time. And from some beat writers, that what I was hearing, that some of the players wasn't even made to show up on Saturdays before Sunday games at all. They had an option. They had an option to meet before the games on Saturday. That was our culture. Now, during the press conference, they talked about history with the Schottenheimers. He seemed like a very articulate type of coach. He seemed like he can get his point across. He seemed like he was a family-oriented guy. He seemed like he was very motivational. He seemed like he can also be a player's coach. He seemed like that he would be able to try to change some things. That's what he seemed. But you got to understand something, guys. He worked with Mike McCarthy. If he was able to change something, why didn't he while Mike was there? Some say, okay, he bit his tongue, from what Jerry was saying. He had some plans, but he didn't want to speak on them. Let's think about this. He had plans, but he didn't want to speak on them. So what did he do? A Jason Garrett type move? Where he deliberately not just want the ship to go down in flames and not say anything about it? I mean, help me out, Cowboy Nation, help me. I mean, I'm trying to figure out, are we buying what Jerry is selling? Are you? Let's go back in time. Last year was all in. Remember? And he went out and got Mingo and gave up a 4th rounder. Now, that wasn't Jerry. That was Steven. Went out and got Mingo for our 4th round pick. Gave up our 4th round pick. A guy that couldn't even get on the field as a wide receiver. We had Steven during training camp. I wouldn't say training camp. Senior Bowls, Combine, saying we was going to touch a little bit on free agent this year. In the free agent market, we're going to be some players. Remember that? Y'all do remember that, right? Nothing. That's the reason why I said Jerry Jones has struck again. And are you buying what he's selling? From one salesperson to the next, nah. I'm not from Texas, but you got to show me. You got to show me. Because all of our Cowboy Nation has been hearing is blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Now, Brian has convinced some of the YouTubers that he can be a great fit. And I'm not saying he can't. I'm sure it's not going to be a lot of comeback routes. I'm sure it's not going to be a lot of stop and go or stop routes and turn around. And I'm sure it's going to be some motion this time. Crossing routes. Curls. I'm sure it is. And you remember when I told you, Cowboy Nation, that I knew the Joneses wasn't going to go out and do nothing extravagant? Because for one, Dak really has 2 to 3 years on his contract, really two. Two, they would love being familiar. They love that. They don't like change. They don't want somebody to come in and be objective to the way of business. That's the Jones way. If Deion would have came in, Deion would have had to have his own coaches, his own staff. He would change the whole culture in Dallas. And I don't think Jerry was ready for that. That's the reason why they really didn't even have an interview. Now, Jerry said he had extensive interviews. That's what he said. Jerry was emotional on the stand. I'm emotional right now. That's our job. That's what we do as sales. We own what we're trying to convince you to believe. We have to own it, whether it's true or not. I have to be able to come on common ground with you guys. I've got to be able to get you to smile. I've got to be able to get you to trust me in order for me to earn your business, whether it's sales, or whether it's just plain old trust on what I'm saying. And I've got to be able to overcome objections. I got to be able to have an answer of every objection or of every question that you ask, and maybe to be able to come with an accurate response. And that's what Jerry's always about and always been. He is the ultimate salesperson. I love him for that. He's good at it. But is Jerry going to let Brian finally run the team? And are the players, like Michael Irvin said, going to be willing to change? Is he going to be able to install discipline on some of these players, some of the leaders? It's yet to be determined. Think about it. You had one coach who wanted to do it his way, and Mike McCarthy. You had Brian Schottenheimer, who was the actual play caller, who had to sit in the meetings, but couldn't have no type of input in playing calls and call playing or in play calling. Never been a head coach. Got great pedigree. His dad, Marty, was a hell of a coach. That's definitely a green check mark. But Jerry Jones has given the keys to a man that's never coached, has never won a playoff game as a head coach. To one of the greatest franchise in the history of NFL. And has convinced the majority of Cowboy Nation this was a great coaching decision. Again, one of the greatest salesperson in the world has done it again. And you know what's crazy? The majority of you people thinks it's okay, or at least half. So guys, what do you think? Leave your comments. We're going to the Super Bowl next year? Woo! Jerry, I got to give it to you. That's why I look up to you. You know what to say and how to say it. That's what sales is all about. It's convincing people to buy in on what you're selling. Cowboy Nation, stand up. Body G, stand up. We'll see you guys. Talk to you soon. Peace.